Hello, everyone. Welcome to Property Management Unit 1. Just so you know, what we'll kind of do is I'll read through the entirety of the slides. My face will go away for the majority of the slideshow, and I may jump in here and there, and then definitely at the end to interject and give you guys some ideas. And yeah, let's get right into it. Chapter 1. Learning objectives. When you have completed this unit, you will be able to accomplish the following. Describe the development of property management profession and explain the roles of a property manager. Explain the importance of property codes. Describe the growth of professionalism in property management. Identify the classification of and specialized opportunities in real estate. The development of the property management profession. Before the Great Depression, property managers did not exist. After the Depression caused many apartment owners to default, banks were left with buildings they did not know how to care for. Thus, the caretaker managers were born. They were created so that banks would have someone to care for those properties by collecting rent, doing maintenance, and meeting other necessary needs for the tenant. They did not do leasing or marketing, as that was still the responsibility of the property owner. After the Great Depression through the 1950s, the development of national highways and more efficient and affordable cars saw an increase in single-family rental units. Amid the suburban rental increase, the duties of the caretaker manager shifted to those of what we now know as the property manager. During the 1980s, real estate investors were no longer allowed to deduct losses from their income due to the Tax Reform Act of 1986. Thus, they needed more capable property managers to maximize their income. Also during this time, low-income housing tax credit, also known as LIHTC, helped spark a boom of affordable housing projects. Public and transparent real estate investment trusts or REITs, allowed many investors to pool resources and reduce risks, and fair housing laws became trickier to navigate, requiring property managers to be well versed in changing policy matters. As technology has developed, new tools like computers and smartphones has also grown crucial to the real estate industry. At first, digital spreadsheets and basic computers allowed higher productivity, but today's smartphone allows renters to sign leases from anywhere. In 2008, the Great Recession also impacted the housing market. Since then, the economy has been largely recovered, but young people are not buying homes as they did before. As a result of these barriers to home ownership, there are now more renters than ever before. Due to the specialized areas like military housing, student housing, aging population housing, and other niche markets, the modern property management must be knowledgeable and well rounded. The roles of the property manager. Most professional property managers work in one or two capacities as employees of an owner of an extensive property or as independent managers for several owners. The latter are often referred to as third party managers. Manager as economist. A professional property manager must have a comprehensive understanding of the economy forces at work in the real estate market in order to evaluate the property in terms of operating income, forecast its potential for the future, and construct a management plan that reflects the owner's objectives. The plan must be flexible enough to adapt to future changes in the market. These topics are treated in detail in later units. Manager as involved community member. In addition to these tasks involved in property management per se, professional managers should take an interest in professional, social, and political organizations in their municipality. Their long-range goals will be more easily realized if property managers take on civic responsibilities and help implement plans for growth and improvement for their communities. Managers as facilitator of owner's interests. As an agent of the owner, the property management must work within the owner's guidelines, goals, and objectives. For that reason, it is imperative that the manager identify what the owner wants to achieve. As long as the goals of the owner are reasonable, ethical, and lawful, Essentially, the property manager seeks to achieve the objectives of the property owners, to generate income for the owners and to preserve and increase the value of the investment property. Occasionally, a short-sighted owner will direct a property manager to operate a property in a manner that extracts every possible dollar from the property without putting any money back into it, even if not actually expressed or even tactfully admitted. It occurs when an owner demands frequent payments of accumulated cash, refuses to make any repairs except those absolutely necessary to keep the property operating, and pay bills and even taxes at the last possible minute. This is called milking a property, and those owners are referred to as slumlords. A property manager in this position should meet with the owner and tactfully but clearly point out that the ultimate loss that can occur as a result of following such a course of action. If the property owner, for financial or other reasons, continues to direct the property be managed in this manner, the property manager should document the owner's direction with a confirming letter. The property manager could consider whether to continue managing the property under policies that may be illegal and appear to doom the project to financial failure. Property managers should pay careful attention to the owner's attitude regarding civil rights law and applicable laws and regulations affecting the property. If the property manager will suffer increased exposure to liability based on an owner's refusal to comply with such laws, the prudent course of action is to terminate the management agreement. Versatility. Increasingly, a property manager may be called on to act as a market analyst, advertising executive, salesperson, accountant, diplomat, or even a maintenance engineer. Moreover, the manager is expected to interact competently with many professionals in related fields: attorneys, accountants, environmental inspection companies, and so forth. The manager must acquire and refine a wide range of interpersonal skills to work effectively with owners, prospect tenants, employees, outside contractors, and others in the real estate business. Specialization. Specialists are needed to manage various types of properties. Commercial property can include multi-story office buildings, regional shopping malls, strip shopping centers, mini storage centers, and large warehouses. Residential properties vary from large multi-family apartment communities to scattered single-family dwellings. Residential property to be managed may also include condominium cooperatives and townhouses. Other opportunities for specialization include the management or subsidize of affordable housing, manufactured home parks, elderly housing, and military housing. Those most recent specialty, the most recent specialty is managing REOs or bank-owned real estate as a result of so many housing foreclosures. License requirements. Property managers are entrusted with the owner's funds and they interact with tenants. In order to protect consumers, most states now require that property managers hold some form of real estate license. Depending on the state, they may need a real estate license or a property manager license, or they must work in close contact with those who are licensed. Those who manage and own their own properties are not subject to real estate license requirements. Key policy. In the property management profession, each organization uses its own system for defining job categories with responsibilities varying according to the type and extent of property managed. A manager with the title of VP, Director of Real Estate, for example, may perform the duties of a facility manager or an asset manager. One property manager may manage a number of buildings with several tiers to staff to supervise, while another property manager may take care of only a few single-family dwellings. Growth of professionalism in property management. The demand for effective property management began in the 1800s with several advancements that contributed to a radical transformation in the nature of urban real estate: steel frame buildings, the electric elevator, development of suburban areas, and increasing investment in opportunities. Steel frame buildings and the electric elevator. The structural advantages of these, coupled with perfection of the electric elevator in 1889 made it possible to build tall buildings on relatively small parcels of scarce urban land. This led to taller office buildings and the construction of all type of multifamily apartments, especially in the 1920s. Development of suburban areas. The expansion of public transportation and the increase in automobile ownership following World War II enabled young couples to purchase their own house in the suburbs. As the population shifted, suburban shopping centers were built outside of the city, thereby decentralizing the traditional downtown concentration of commerce. As a result, office buildings and light industry were built away from the city core. Note, however, that today these trends are being modified in some areas by the revitalization of central cities. Today, more than ever, the diverse type of properties now under professional management and increasing variety of ownership entities employed by investors make the need for professional property management skills even more critical. Continued professional training is, therefore, a must if a property manager is to grow and succeed in this profession. A number of organizations have been formed to develop professional standards and offer educational programs. There just as there are various types of real estate property, there are different classifications of property managers. A professional property manager may be an individual entrepreneur, a member of a real estate firm specializing in property management, or a member of property management department of a large multi-service real estate company. The manager also may work within the trust department of a financial institution or within the real estate department of a large corporation or public institution. Property managers pursue similar objectives regardless of their employment backgrounds. As the person in charge of maximizing net income from a property, the property manager may be responsible for planning through budgeting and market analyses, as well as advertising and space merchandising, screening tenants, negotiating leases, collecting rents, maintaining the interior and exterior of the premise, supervising security, obtaining insurance, paying taxes on the property, keeping accurate records, and making periodic reports to the owner. Management duties varies according to the specific situation and particular property. The successful manager therefore must be competent in all these areas. The major functions of the property manager are discussed in the following units. Professional organizations, key policy. In the 20th century, Holt, owner and manager of a 16-story Chicago skyscraper, invited his colleague to dinner meeting, which led to the formation of the Chicago Building Managers Organization. In 1908, 75 people attended a national organization meeting. By 1921, a number of groups have formed in the nation's larger cities and organizational changes were required. The Building Owners and Managers Association, BOMA, became a national federation and local and regional groups. Mostly early BOMA members were office building managers, with some participation from apartment and loft building managers. Later, as chapters were organized in Canada, England, South Africa, Japan, Australia, the name was changed to the Building Owners and Managers Association International. An independent organization, the Building Owners and Managers Institute, BOMI, was established in 1970 to provide educational programs for property owners and managers of commercial properties. Individuals with several years of experience in the field who have successfully completed the program courses receive the professional designation of Real Property Administrator, RPA. For training building maintenance personnel and facility managers, BOMI has developed courses of study of system maintenance administrators and facility management administrators. International Council of Shopping Centers. To promote professionalism in the specialized field of retail property management, the International Council of Shopping Centers has developed a series of courses leading to the certification of development, leasing, management, marketing, executive leadership. The certification courses are offered in English, Spanish, Arabic, Turkish, and Chinese. Institute of Real Estate Management. In 1933, a group of property management firms created the Institute as an affiliate group of the National Association of Realtors. Today, not only opportunities for the property managers to meet to share ideas, but also offers programs to instruct those coming to business. IREM offers the designation of Certified Property Management to those who meet educational experience and examination requirements. The Institute also grants qualified management firms the designation of accredited management organization. Those who specialize in the management of residential properties can pursue the designation of accredited residential management. National Apartment Association. Residential rental property was also affected by the 1930s depression. Apartment owners and managers in most of the larger cities formed their own associations during the 1930s. The National Apartment Association, created in 1939, sponsors courses for certified apartment managers, certificate for apartments maintenance technicians, certified apartment portfolio supervisors, and more. The National Association Builders and Owners. The National Association Builders and Owners was separated from the National Association of Home Builders in order to focus exclusively on issues of multifamily management. It assumed management of several certifications. The Registered in Apartment Manager, RAM, is the oldest residential property management certification in the United States and is HUD approved as providing quality training to managers of multifamily rental, condominium, cooperatives, subsidized market rate housing. Other designations include Certified Listing Professional and Advanced Registered in Apartment Management. The National Affordable Housing Management Association advocates on the behalf of multifamily property managers and owners who are involved in affordable housing. NAHMA works with the Department of Housing and Urban Development, Congress, the Department of Agriculture's Rural Development Office, the Internal Revenue Service, state housing finance agencies, the housing credit monitoring agencies. Its members can participate in several certification programs, including Specialists in Housing Credit Management, National Affordable Housing Professional, Certified Professional of Occupancy, Fair Housing, Compliance, and more. National Association of Residential Property Managers is a trade organization for property managers who specialize in managing single-family dwellings. Members must have a real estate license and primarily manage single-family dwellings. They agree to abide by the presentation and ethical standards of the Code of Ethics and Bylaws. Several designations are offered for individual residential professional management and the master property manager, and more. National Multifamily Housing Council are those who are involved in the apartment industry, including ownership, development, management, and financing of larger apartment buildings. They work with the NAA to advocate on legislative and regulatory affairs relating to rental properties of 5 or more units. Code of Ethics. Most of the professional trade organizations previously mentioned an embrace of code of ethics to which its members subscribe. These are formulated in its own code of ethics based on the NAR Code of Ethics, outlines standards of business conduct for all CPMs. One of the requirements for becoming a CPM is a successful completion of an ethics course. Under the terms of the most of these codes, the manager agent pledges to act in the best interest of the principal and to handle all transactions involving the property with honesty and discretion. In essence, the property manager promises to uphold and promote the integrity of that occupation and the standards of the entire property management profession. Many of the standards of conduct required of the agent under specific articles of the code have been incorporated into the terms of most management contracts. The definition of real property begins with the surface of a parcel of land and moves on to the owner's rights to the air above the surface and to the soil and to the mineral rights beneath the soil, as well as anything permanently attached to the land either by nature or by human hands. Man-made permanent attachments are called improvements. For example, because mineral and agricultural crops are considered to be part of real estate, the management of mines and farms could be considered real property management. In these cases, though, the process of mining or farming is more significant than the management of the land itself. Likewise, large enterprises with extensive holdings of real estate, such as hotel and motel chains, groceries, and other specialized realtors, will have a property management department staffed with experienced property managers. Activities of this nature represent specialized business enterprises and will not be covered in this text. Most professional property managers involve structures built on real property that are not intrinsic to the operation of a business or industry. For those purposes of studying specialized property management, real estate can be divided into four major classifications: residential, commercial, industrial, and special purpose. Each type of property requires a different combination of knowledge and skills on the part of the manager. Residential property. Residential real estate included privately owned residences as well as government and institutional housing, satisfies the basic shelter needs of the population. Residential property is the largest source of demand for the services of professional property managers. Single-family homes. Freestanding single-family homes are still the most popular form of residential property in the United States. According to the U.S. Census Bureau, the vast majority of U.S. housing is made up of single-family, owner-occupied homes that do not require professional management. Nevertheless, more than a third of single-family homes are used as rental properties. While these often are managed directly by the owner, there is a growing trend toward hiring professional managers for these properties. Manufactured home parks account for 6% of all occupied housing in the United States. An important source of affordable housing, they are built in factories according to the Department of Housing and Urban Development (HUD) specializations. Although permanently attached to a chassis that, in theory, permits them to be moved, fewer than 5% of manufactured double-wide homes are moved a second time. More than a third of these homes are sited in rental communities, and their value comes from the desirability of that community. Many locals designate certain areas for these homes. The landowner rents space to the owner of the manufactured home or rents such a home to the tenant. Many retirees in the Sunbelt states choose to live in a manufactured home park. Many of these communities have designated senior living. The near elderly is older than 55, elderly older than 62. That, coupled with the low acquisition costs and low maintenance, has contributed to their popularity. Multifamily residences. Raising construction costs and a decrease in the availability of usable land has increased the popularity of multifamily developments such as townhouses or row houses, condominiums, and cooperatives, many which are individually owned. The economy of design and land usage inherent in multifamily housing allows for lower family costs of construction. Although these costs have increased, the part because of legal requirements for handicapped accessibility, structurally, multifamily residence has many classifications. Among them are garden developments, walk-up buildings, high-rise buildings. Each type is unique in its location, design, construction, services, and amenities. Facilities for the aging. Increasingly, people are living long beyond what was once considered retirement age. forcing a rethinking of housing needs for those who are retired or semi-retired. There has been a tremendous increase in the number of retirement communities, homes for the aged, convalescent care facilities, and independent living facilities. Housing for the elderly is often exempt from certain laws, such as the lead-based paint notification and the Fair Housing Law protecting families with children against discrimination based on familial status. On the other hand, construction costs are often high in order to comply with handicap accessibility. Whether for profit or non-profit, most of these communities require specialized professional management. A commercial property is generally considered to be a public accommodation, a private entity that provides goods, services, facilities, or accommodations to the public. Commercial real estate includes various types of income-producing properties, such as office buildings, shopping centers, stores, gas stations, and parking lot. Thus, even though commercial premises are privately owned, the public has certain rights to use them. The two principal categories of commercial real estate are office property, where the occupants provide services, and retail properties from which goods are sold. Office property is a type of income-producing property from which a particular service is rendered. It can cost a low-rise walk-up offices, high-rise complexes, or office parks, also called business parks. Whether an office property is situated in a downtown commercial district or in a suburban development, its location determines its success relative to the prospective workforce, transportation facilities, and other business services. The occupants of office property may be several tenants or a single occupant who may not be the owner. Real estate owned and occupied by a major corporation is often referred to as institutional property and may be supervised by the corporation's own property or facilities management department. Some multiple tenant office properties accept any financial qualified person or organization or others cater to the type of business. Medical complexes, dental complexes, and trade centers are examples of multiple occupancy, single use property. Trade centers cater to one type of merchandise, and usually only wholesalers are allowed to enter and buy. Retail property is commercial property from which goods are sold. It includes freestanding buildings, traditional shopping centers designed by size, strip centers, neighborhood centers, community centers, regional shopping centers, and super regional malls. One specialized centers such as off-price stores, factory outlets, and specialty stores centers. The freestanding single-tenant building is often owner-occupied and owner-managed. Strip centers usually consist of 4 to 10 stories located on a corner of a main thoroughfare and are designed primarily for convenience shopping. Neighborhood centers are next largest, containing 15 to 20 retail outlets. Community centers may consist of 20 to 70 stores and serve an even larger area. Retail property, generally consisting of regional shopping centers, super-regional malls, and factory outlets that offer brand names at discounted prices, is frequently located in suburban areas. With a few exceptions, centralized urban commercial districts have all but disappeared. Professional management is a necessity due to the size of these shopping centers and their diverse tenant mix. The success or failure of a shopping center often hinges on property managers' ability to assess the market, conduct sales promotion and public relations, and act swiftly and decisively. Research parks offer combinations of office and industrial space or buildings to tenants specializing in certain fields, such as electronics or engineering. They are often located in the same locale as universities with active graduate schools. These parks may also include spaces for beginning companies called incubator spaces, designed to be adapted to the changing needs of a growing company. Industrial property includes all land and facilities that convert raw materials into finished products. Activities involve the production, storage, and distribution of goods. Heavy manufacturing. Very large industrial plants, such as steel mills, automotive plants, and petroleum refineries, must be accessible to transportation facilities, an adequate source of raw material, a skilled labor supply. Because property for heavy industry must be designated within specific needs of potential users in mind, such plants are generally operated and managed by the owner. Light manufacturing. Assembly or warehouse, on the other hand, can usually be performed in smaller buildings requiring fewer unique specifications. As a result, light industrial buildings can often be utilized by more than one type of enterprise, a fact that has stimulated some real estate speculators to build this type of facility for future lease to industrial concerns. Industrial parks. As people moved away from the cities to the suburbs, well-designed roadways were built to facilitate the flow of workers, materials, and finished goods. Industrial parks designed for light industry and located in suburban areas with great land availability often provide the advantage of one-story plant and warehouse design, ample parking, and extensive landscaping. These spaces are called business parks, or they include a high ratio of office space. Loft buildings, multi-story, low-rent buildings once used for manufacturing, are reminders of the former concentration of industrial activity in the central urban areas of older cities. They are now being converted into various combinations of manufacturing, office, residential, and storage space. These thousands of square feet in loft buildings that remain to be converted and leased offer unique possibilities for creative and ambitious property managers. Distribution facilities or warehouses are built in the suburban industrial parks to relieve the traffic congestion of most the central city. Although most larger warehouses usually are owner occupied, many are being built by investors for lease to industrial users with different space requirements. By the very nature of their use, warehouses require minimal management. Depending on the terms of the lease, management responsibilities are often shared by landlord and tenant. Many older warehouses in some central city areas have been converted into shopping malls, condominium apartments, and office space. Mini storage facilities. Mini storage facilities provide extra storage space for homeowners and apartment dwellers. Mini storage facilities and storage areas have not been specifically designated to meet the needs of any one industry. Businesses may also rent space in mini storage facilities to store files, extra supplies, or surplus equipment. As a result, many mini storage facilities are now located in commercial areas as well as near apartment projects. To provide security, on-site resident managers for mini storage are common. Enterprise zones. Enterprise zones are usually created through state statutes that often grant certain tax consequences to businesses enterprises in return for the creation of new jobs. An enterprise zone often consists of warehousing, light manufacturing, or assembly zones. Some port cities have created free trade zones where other imported goods may be stored in selected warehouses until some time in the future when import duties are paid. Special purpose properties are built to accommodate a special business or organizational undertaking that dictates the design and operation of the building themselves. Examples include hotels, motels, clubs, resorts, nursing homes, theaters, schools, colleges, government institutions, places of worship. Management of these properties is usually provided by members of the particular business or organization. These individuals must be skilled in the techniques of professional property management and knowledgeable in their specific fields of endeavor. Special purpose property. Some single occupant property is often termed institutional when the purpose served is religious or charitable. The designation is also coming into common usage to categorize property owned by pension trusts and life insurance companies. This is a result of referring to financing from such sources as institutional. Retirement communities that combine independent living facilities with assisted living and nursing home care are fast-growing segment of special purpose property. As the population ages and healthcare advances, keep people alive longer, there is a growing need for housing for this segment of the population. Specialized opportunities in property management. Aside from choosing among various types of property that can be managed, property managers can also choose to offer one or more of many specialized facets of property management. Concierge services. A fixture in French hotels for decades, the concierge is traditionally defined as a doorkeeper or lobby attendant. Originally, a concierge ordered tickets in for the theater, sporting events, or for other attractions, made dinner reservations, and arranged for messages or deliveries and limousines and taxis among their services. Today, concierges are often routinely placed in office buildings, condominium developments, shopping centers, and apartment complexes. The modern concierge now offers a greatly expanded list of available services. For example, concierges now offer courier and secretarial aid, cater in office lunches and arrange conferences, and provide rental services for little used office space equipment such as audio or visual aids, personal services, dry cleaning, laundry, shopping, automotive care, gift purchases, wrapping, or repair of small appliances may also be offered. Companies now specialize in training and staffing concierges in office buildings and other settings, but a property manager with proper research into concierge services can supply the service as a profit center. If a building will not support a full-time concierge, property managers often hire one concierge to split between several buildings. Asset management services. Asset management in real estate management context generally refers to financial management of a sizable number of investment properties. Real property asset managers with numbers large enough monitor financial performance, study local markets, and compare individual properties against a norm as well with others like properties in a portfolio. A real estate asset manager supervises and is responsible for a portfolio of properties rather than managing directly an individual property or the properties in a particular area. Generally, while the manager may not make a financial buy and sell decision, he is critical to the overall real estate investment properties at the ownership level. In providing asset management services, the asset manager may be called upon to or decide any or all of the following: whether to invest in real estate and in what localities, in what type of real estate to invest, such as commercial or residential, which particular property to purchase, appropriate financing methods and sources, when, if, and particular property is sold or otherwise disposed of. A major difference between an asset manager and a traditional property manager is that ownership delegates to the asset manager the responsibility of monitoring the portfolio of properties in the same manner as a security portfolio. Rent or dividends must be collected. The performance of the properties, individual issues, must be reviewed regularly, and the type of properties, industries, must be analyzed. In addition, the asset manager must make knowledgeable about all markets where portfolio property is located. Like the financial asset manager, the real property asset manager usually has a strong voice in retention or disposition of property. Corporate property managers. Some non-real estate corporations spend millions of dollars investing in and managing real estate assets. Their corporate property managers create facilities and manage properties for corporations that invest in real estate. Because real estate is not their main occupation, the corporations need property managers to develop and manage the real estate investments. These property managers are usually employees of the corporation, not independent contractors or consultants. Current economic conditions have created the dual phenomenon of downsizing and outsourcing, corporations are reducing staff to save costs and hiring outside service providers, called outsourcing, to pick up the slack. By outsourcing, a corporate real estate department can continue to provide essential services and remain responsive to the corporation's real estate needs. For example, if a corporation decides to sell a large property or properties, it can simply cancel its outsourced services rather than restructure or reduce its real estate department. Outsourcing also allows a corporation to save money in hiring and training costs. Downsizing and outsourcing means reduce opportunities for corporate managers. However, they also mean increased opportunities for property management companies in a position to offer corporations the real estate services they need. Technology experts. Property managers must be on the cutting edge of constant changing technology in order to adapt and cater to the needs of clients who require sophisticated space. Increasingly, developers are adding fiber optics, internet access, and other telecommunication options to residential buildings as well as office space. In fact, some buildings are installing rooftop antennas so the occupants can tap into wireless technology. Leasing agents. Larger property management companies often use specialty leasing consultants. Leasing agents move from property to property on a month-to-month basis, leasing new or repositioned properties, and they are generally paid by commission. One thing is sure, in a very competitive market, those who can lease are in high demand. Nice. We've got through the first chapter. Thank you so much. Let's go through a little review right now as we finalize this chapter up. So the primary function of a property manager, remember, is to generate income while achieving the owner's objective, always preserving the value of the property. Since the early 1900s, trends in urban and suburban development have sparked increased demand for trained and skilled property managers. Remember, we only do the wills of the owner so long as it's ethical and it's legal. For the purposes of professional property management, real estate can be divided into four major classifications: residential, commercial, industrial, and special purpose property, each with their own type of combination and skill for managing. Modern developments requiring specialized management include incubator spaces, mini storage facilities, research parks, free trade zones, concierge service, and asset management services. The professional property manager must also be able to assess present and future value of a property based on the net operating income, construct a management plan that will meet the owner's expectations and objectives, and remain flexible enough to respond to market fluctuations and other contingencies. A professional manager may work as either an employee or with an owner with many properties, or as an independent manager who works for several owners. The manager should make every effort to understand the owner's intentions and objectives, and if these objectives are short-sighted or illegal, the property manager should disengage from the agreement. This concludes Unit 1 chapter. Thank you so much for joining us. See you on the next.